4 liter of displacement, 6 cylinders, naturally aspirated engine, manual gearbox. We're going old school today on Autogefühl with a new car. Because so far Porsche has reserved this setup for the GT4 and the Spider, but now 718 Boxster and 718 Cayman come as GTS 4.0 here with this special setup. So we had several versions of the Boxster and the Cayman so far. We also linked them in the video description and the pinned comment, so later after this review you can enjoy even more. Here the headlamps come with xenon as standard and optional LED in general for the Boxster and the Cayman, and the GTS models have the black contrast right there and a bigger opening. They have overall the sportier scheme and of course a lot of black elements on the outside. 4m38, 14'4" or 172 inches is the length of the Boxster or the Cayman. The only difference, of course, Boxster and Cayman is the roof. So everything we'll tell you today will basically count for both vehicles. Besides, here you can, of course, close the roof, and it's I can't move too far away with the key. I just want to give you a better view. I have to stay close to the car, obviously for safety reasons, that I'm not like closing it from hundreds of meters away and then maybe someone is getting his hands in there or something. So that's how the car, just giving you a free look, how it looks like with the closed top, and pretty muscular, especially with these 20-inch wheels. So usually the GTS 4.0 setup is black 20-inch wheels. Here, in this vehicle, there's a different option, just another wheel style, how it looks like with non-black wheels. But black wheels would be the typical GTS style. But I mean, it's just a matter of preference, which one you like better. You see the yellow brake calipers here, by the way. These are the special ceramic brakes, so you can go for them, but they are very, very expensive. And of course, this one is already more expensive. It's a couple of €1,000 less expensive than the Spider. Same counts also for the Cayman versus GT4. But it's also a couple of €1,000 more expensive than the normal 4-cylinder GTS. So it's exactly in between. Both in the front and in the rear with the GTS models in general, you have the black tinted background here, so front and rear lights. It's making a more aggressive look. Also have the black spoiler right there, both for the 718 Boxster GTS and the 718 Cayman GTS. And the 4.0 models have a special exhaust system. Of course, there's, a little more fume coming out. So they also split it a little bit more open. So usually it's centralized, but here it's left and right. So a little bit more space in between. Again, this is a more, bigger stance look even from this exhaust port here. Let's do some engine talk. In the previous generation, it was still all about the 6-cylinder naturally aspirated engines, but in this current generation here, they move more towards the 4-cylinder concept. And I mean, you can understand it somehow because of the CO2 fleet emissions, yes, but also this is supposed to be a lightweight car. And somehow it also makes sense. So usually you get a 2-liter 4-cylinder engine, a flat turbo, either with 300 horsepower then in the base version or in the Boxster T, this lightweight model. Then there is the S model, which already comes with the 2.5-liter 4-cylinder flat turbo, then with 350 horsepower. Same engine goes to the 4-cylinder GTS with 365 horsepower, the fastest model with 4.1 seconds in the acceleration figure. And then the recent GT4 and the Spider actually at 4.4 seconds. And this then here, 4.5 seconds. 400 horsepower for this 6-cylinder 4-liter of displacement. 420 horsepower it would be for the GT4 and the Spider. and the acceleration figures is 0.1 seconds, so that's really nothing. But indeed, there is a big difference here from this 6-cylinder GTS to the 4-cylinder GTS.
But what's the reason for that? It's indeed this, the manual gearbox. It's not the weight difference, 6-cylinder and 4-cylinder is just 30 kilograms, so it's nothing significantly. It's just the manual gearbox. So when this one will come with the dual clutch transmission, the 6-cylinder GTS will be faster than the 4-cylinder GTS. At the moment, it's the way that manual gearbox comparing 4-cylinder GTS manual gearbox versus 6-cylinder GTS manual gearbox. This one here, the bigger one, is 0.1 seconds faster. So it's just slower overall because it was the comparison manual gearbox versus the PDK. Again, PDK versus PDK, then the more powerful engine will also win because it's not significantly heavier.
What about the interior? Of course, with the convertible we can look at it a little bit better. It's easier to take a look at it inside of the doors, or with the GTS scheme, Alcantara and red contour stitching, fitting to the carmine red exterior color. Then the carbon fiber inlet right here. And this classic sporty look, Alcantara steering wheel here in the GTS package. So it's both the same for the 4-cylinder and the 6-cylinder GTS. Really cool, the steering wheel and the drive mode selector is right there. Right side to control the digital instruments. There's just one part of digital from the instruments, and the left side then for the volume control. Bucket seat here has a little bit more support here and there. Which seat is the best for you? It really depends on the body posture. The thing is, it's such a great driving machine, no matter in which version I've been driving the 718, but I could never find a proper seat where I would say it would be long-term suitable. That's, for example, better in the BMW Z4. And yes, you know, folks at BMW also said probably that they had the 6-cylinder BMW Z4 new generation. Maybe it was also an influence that Porsche went back here now with the 6-cylinders, also in the 718. Yeah, that's how it sometimes goes on the market, a little bit back and forth. So we'll see later on the driving part how it goes like with the seating comfort here in these bucket seats. Usually more standard seats are a little bit more open in the driving position and so on. And I'm on this 86 or 6.1, and indeed it still does fit even when I close the roof. So I can do it here right now, and you can see it again in live time how long it takes. It doesn't take that long, and the soft top is of course pretty cool and so easy. Oh, attention, the window goes up when you keep holding it, of course. So in here I still have even enough headroom when the roof is closed, and at very high speeds the Cayman will be more silent on the interior. Maybe like 120, 130 kilometers, or like 70, 80 miles plus. Then the soft top will be, a little bit noisier than the closed Cayman. Other than that, for most other speeds, these are so well insulated nowadays that you don't feel so much difference. Also, normal road driving, I can already tell you, on the racetrack, as a professional driver, you feel that Cayman is more stiff, from the body. But normally driving, it's more the question, do you want that open top or not? So here's the interior, which is still somewhat old school, of course. It's not the newest car, but it does the job, definitely. These vents here, they have been rearranged with the recent facelift a couple of years ago. Sports Chrono package also includes this analog clock then, and also puts down the acceleration time. Then you have this integration of the infotainment system with Apple CarPlay right here. And you can go back to the Porsche menu like this. There's also the GPS right there. The map here, you can zoom in and out. Does the job actually quite good and easy, the system, and still with a lot of real hotkeys. All the climate unit can be accessed really, but quite small also reaches then while driving, seat heating, and ta-da! Here it is, the manual gearbox, 6-speed, and You hear how crisp it is when you put in the gears or just when the car is stationary. So pretty amazing. Let's find out about the gear ratios, because it has been criticized with the GT4 and the Spider review here and there, maybe like too long second gear. I'm looking forward to test it very soon. And now, very important information. It will later also come, or maybe if you watch the review at a later stage, it's already there, with the dual clutch transmission with the Porsche, with the PDK. So this will be then a possibility also for the GT4 and the Spider, but so far for manual shifting enthusiasts, but later on also then with the automatic gearbox as you know it. Then later on, lower down here, you can actually activate the wing and the exhaust note separately. Well, you don't have too much space in the cabin, but actually 718 Boxster and even more so the 718 Cayman, they have two trunks. So the front and, the normal trunk, and this is actually quite versatile. I mean, you can even put cabin trolleys in like this. This even works and will close. Well, either from the inside, left next to you when you're sitting on the driver's seat, or then again on the key. You can open also the rear trunk. Here we go. And this is, let's say, a little bit easier as for the accessibility, because you do not have to open this second stage of that. And it does work to put a backpack in like this when you squeeze it just a little bit. You know, this is maybe not the best solution. Maybe then like this or something. Put it like this, and this already works then, and it closes.
Welcome to Thomas's Driving Lounge. Open top here with the 718 Boxster GTS 4.0. We're gonna have a lot of fun. We put it in sports mode to have some more throttle input and exhaust sound, and enjoy something of this manual gearbox here as well. And since they have a pretty long gearing in the second gear, most of the time you just keep it in second gear, and that's basically it. In the city and so on, it wasn't too negative, so it was actually quite okay. And the thing is here with the naturally aspirated engine, you don't drive it that low revving and use a turbo or something. You rather put it to higher RPMs and really use these RPMs then, you know, and keep it, for example, in a lower gear. That's how it works. Of course, you can also shift up if you like, and the crisp shifting is really a lot of fun. You know, I'm a fan of automatic gearboxes because they're just more comfortable in everyday driving life. But sometimes, you know, in a car like this, or in a Mazda MX-5, for example, this can actually be a lot of fun. And, well, you don't need to shift that often, and cruising here at about 70 kilometers an hour, you can keep it rather silent also, for example in the third gear, or if you want to attack it a little bit more, put back to the second one. And you maybe heard it, when we are here in the sport mode and we shift back, there's an automatic dual clutch. It would be German Zwischengas, the famous German Zwischengas. That's like, the direct translation is like, you know, throttle in between, so to say. Here again. So the car is doing that for you, to match the revs then, to get better in the next gear and have a better performance. But yeah, if it makes such a difference for everyday driving life is of course doubtful. It's more than a fun feature in this case, when you're just driving on the street. Or for example, let's say from second to fourth gear is a little bit, but of course the bigger effect is neat when you put it from third into second gear. And a lot of fun here, driving open top, precise steering, great grip with the microfiber steering wheel, and suspension is actually not too uncomfortable because it is an adaptive one. Yes, it's low definitely, and the GTS is sporty, but it's still somehow adapting to the road surfaces, and it's just so much fun. It's a pure driving machine, this car. Really very, very cool.
And now we're switching over to the 718 Cayman GTS 4.0. By the way, on the long run, they will replace the 4-cylinder GTS model with this 6-cylinder GTS model. So the 4-cylinder GTS will be no more. There will only be the 6-cylinder GTS. So they really have like a from model to model, from base or T to S to GTS. They will even then hop in displacement from model to model. Well, Cayman or Boxster, the question is then, of course, will you want to open the roof? I mean, design-wise, the Cayman looks, of course, a little bit more sportish, and the roofline works a little bit better, definitely, because it is flatter and you have a little bit more space in the trunk, yes. But then you cannot open it. Interestingly, usually the convertible is heavier, but in this case here, both Cayman and the Boxster are 1,405 kilograms with the GTS 4.0 version. Again, as I said, the 6-cylinder not really way heavier than the 4-cylinder, about 30 kilograms. But actually 20 kilograms is more from wheels and suspension. And just 10 kilograms actually just from the engine. Really interesting. In the rear, you can see the lamps are the same. Here, of course, this wing line is a little bit different than, yeah, I think just visually from the exterior, the Cayman is more beautiful, no doubt. But then again, driving with open top, nothing can beat the Boxster right there. And this one here is today reserved for the racetrack, so let's take it out.
Welcome guys to the racetrack with the 718 Cayman GTS 4.0. And yes, this is a true race car, so it's also pretty loud in here. So 230, almost 240 kilometers an hour right here. Hard on the brakes, sequel to Estoril, the banners are also here. Back to second gear, dual clutching or double clutching from the car itself. Keeping the second gear, high off the rev limiter. Back second gear. 7,800 RPM is the rev limiter. And you can mainly drive this car second and third gear indeed. That's also why the gear ratios the way they are. Wow, what a neutral handling this car has. Squeaking tires, of course, a little bit. And straight and out. Hard on the clutch as well, a little bit off the gas. 200 kilometers an hour once again, 125 miles. 911 instructor car in front of us. And way out again. Indeed, in a lot of the corners I can go back to second gear. And of course then the car gets a little bit lighter, especially when you shift down, weight of the car changes a little bit. Look at the steering and the corners, the angle perfectly aligns in the corner and the steering wheel. Now this chicane is really special, can get a little bit slippery. I'm in the Sports Plus mode. Stability control is being drawn back. Another chicane right there. Now this is a very long right corner, 120 kilometers an hour in the corner to the next start and stop straight. On the rev limiter and high up. Well, that was again 230. Yeah, this is a real race car, no doubt. And yeah, it's a lot of fun driving with the manual gearbox. Of course, when you do it for very first time here with this car on the racetrack, it's somewhat tricky when you don't have too much practice with it. Most of the times we are with automatic gearbox on the racetrack nowadays. Most cars, have that nowadays, unless it's like a real race car. But I mean, it's just more challenging, It's a more purist driving experience.
And now let's see how Mark performs on the track. Yeah, probably he'll beat me. Let's watch, and probably we can all learn something.
Hi, it's Mark Webber here. We're in the 718 Cayman Porsche at Estoril in Portugal. And the guys want me to do a few laps with the car on the limit, so we'll have a quick look at it. They want me to explain gear ratios and balance of the car, and also a couple of cute things about the track. So here we are. Probably turn 3, I'd imagine. Holding second gear up the hill. Inside hairpin here. Late apex. Look for a good exit. Third. Fourth, a little bit before the kink. You can do it after, it doesn't really matter. Then we have a big stop down the bottom here. Nice to get the braking right, of course. Nice and smooth, the clutch coming out. Really nice turn in. Hold the apex a little bit longer, then let the car drift. Third gear combined exit. A little bit tricky there for the gear ratio, but down here braking. Second, again off camber. A little bit later apex, running a bit wider here. In between gears here, third gear into the chicane. Back to second, a little bit busy in here. This was super, super tight also in a Formula 1 car, which I tested here with the Benetton many years ago. Hold second gear here, little limiter. Nice to carry second through here, it's easier. Then short shift third. Hold third for the last corner, super, super long, come out wide a little bit. Then look for the exit. Around 170k on the exit there. Into fourth, on the front straight. Pretty relaxing down here.
So now the Autogefuel conclusion for today. Interesting that the GTS 4.0 with the 6-cylinder will replace the 4-cylinder on the long run. So on the long run there won't be the parallel offer for that. And so they move up in displacement also in the model lineup from base or T model to S and then the GTS. Pretty interesting. Next lap starting here. Yeah, Cayman or Boxster, that's of course a question. It's more about the roof, the weight is almost the same, and to me it would always be the open top experience, although the Cayman looks better in a closed way. The 6-cylinder is somewhat more fun to drive because of this sonorous sound, and to me it was more, not only like moving on the rev limiter, but more so that when you keep it at lower RPMs, it gives you a more elaborate, more calm feeling, a cruising feeling, whereas the 4-cylinder sounds and feels a little bit more nervous. That's what I found really cool with that. However, the GTS model is already quite expensive, and then when you add some of the features, told you earlier about almost 120k for a fully spec'd car, and that didn't even have the full LED lamps. Wow. So I would rather keep it with the purest approach, get the base model of the Boxster or the Cayman, or maybe the T, the weight optimized model also. I think that's more the spirit of the whole Porsche, to not to exceed it that much and then still get somewhat a good price-performance ratio. So, what do you think? Give us your feedback. Cayman or Boxster, 4-cylinder or 6-cylinder, GTS or S or T or the base model. Which one would you go for? Looking forward to your comments. See you next time.